Okay.
So we've got a short little text blurb here.
Yes, we do. Short and obnoxious. I don't know where to start with this. It's this person at a drive-through. It's this person talking about working at a drive-through, and I guess it's being presented in the form of a joke, but there's several problems with it. So we'll get
Uh
into
huh.
that. But let's go ahead and read. It says me, and me being the person that this is coming from, working the drive-through. So
Uh huh.
me. And would you like a Hot Wheels or Barbie toy with that, ma'am? Woman. It's for a boy. Me. Okay, congratulations. Me. Do you want a Hot Wheels or Barbie toy? Woman. I want a boy toy, please. Me. Haha, don't we all? There's no apostrophe in the don't. Woman. It's left blank. You're supposed to put ellipses there when you want to express that someone isn't answering.
Yeah.
Me is left blank. You're supposed to put an ellipses there, yada yada. And then there's another me right after that. So do you want a Hot Wheels or Barbie toy? You have to choose.
So
This is
is
supposed to
it?
be funny to some people. So the first thing you might want to note is that
Couldn't the woman just turn it around and say, "If you want a boy toy, pick one. Pick the one that you want."
she could. We'll get to that. But the very first thing is, as someone serving a customer, you don't sarcastically say, okay, congratulations to them when they give you a response.
Well, you do if you're not being recorded and you don't care about your job and
Yeah,
you
well,
hate humanity in general
yeah, okay, there is
and you're
that.
not interested in serving your customers.
But I can assure you that if so,
This is the kind of behavior that's limited to people that don't own a business.
yeah, pretty much. But I can assure you that if someone said that to me, that that drive-through lane would be blocked up for a while.
Sure, I mean I can see that.
I have a very
Now,
small car, but they're not going to be able to lift it. And I'm not moving until I talk to a manager.
I mean,
So that's the first problem. Second problem, actually, this should have been the first problem because it came first. But given the content of this particular joke in quotes that we're talking about, given that, why is the first thing that the person at the drive-thru says ending with "ma'am"? Are they assuming gender?
my goodness. My goodness, you're right.
I know I'm right. I'm always right. So it's okay for the person at the drive-thru to say, "Oh no, you can't say that a boy is for that a toy is for a boy or a girl." But on the same token, just because they hear what sounds to them like a woman's voice, I guess it,
And you know, she labeled her woman.
yeah, she did. She labeled her
Like she
woman.
might just be female presenting.
Yeah. So which is it, black or white?
Um Hypocrite.
Hypocrite. Yes, definitely hypocrite. So is it supposed to be funny because these
I don't understand what the context of haha don't we all means. Is that like some kind of like sexual come on?
well, yeah, because she's clearly not. Whoever wrote this is clearly has no intention of assuming uh, sexualization or gender, right?
Well, no, but they did in the first line.
Oh yes, they did in the first line. That's right. Yeah, I think you're
That's
right. I
why
think that is hypocritical.
that's why it's hypocrite. If you're going to write a bad joke in script format,
It's really
learn
not
to
a
write
joke,
something
though.
in script
This really
format.
isn't a joke. This is really someone thinking that they're trying to say something, but they're not saying anything at all because of all the problems that are inherent within what they're
This is
saying.
like the kind of thing that would spawn a really bad Seinfeld episode.
Or like a really bad Seinfeld episode. I was thinking it could also be something like a BuzzFeed article.
Well, I mean, it
Is
could be any
BuzzFeed still
sort of
around?
article. I think so. They changed hands like 4 times after they had to pay Hulk Hogan a bunch of money.
That was a glorious day.
It was pretty funny.
We showed him. Oops.
Womp womp. Hey, you know, if you if join the libertarians, you know, we're against libel and slander laws.
So there's more problems with this. See, because depending on how you look at it, if you're looking
So
at it,
here's a question for you: Is the person that wrote this E. E. Cummings?
no, as far
So
as
then
I know.
do they just not know how capital letters work?
Oh no, nobody writes their stuff with capital letters anymore. Everyone writes in text messaging style, right? Like I was when we were.
Well, no, they don't because she spelled out the word for.
You're right.
Yeah,
well,
no, this is just lazy.
No, yeah,
Lazy
nobody
bullshit.
bothers capitalizing anymore, though. If you read,
I capitalize.
well, yeah, you and I do.
Good people capitalize.
Good people do. Yes, these aren't good people. I mean, look at the content we're dealing with.
I know.
But I mean, you know, who writes "haha, don't we all" with no punctuation and no apostrophe? So
Well, I mean,
there's not even
"Haha,
a
don't
comma
we all-"
after "haha." It's like that makes it a word in the sentence, not a laughter.
it could be. I don't know. Maybe haha means something in the
Well-
crazy world that this person inhabits.
Well, it means mother in Japanese, right? So,
Yes.
so maybe they're related, and that's why she gets away with being sarcastic. Maybe this is just a family get together. We don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, it's like the person that you'd hate talking to at the family reunion.
Definitely that
Sounds
person.
reasonable. That sounds like a thing.
So when it gets to the end, though, and it's like, you have to choose, at that point, I'd be sitting in the drive-thru like, no, I don't. I can wait as long as you can.
I can wait
I'll
longer
tell you
than
what.
because my job isn't dependent on pushing people through this stupid line.
I'll tell you what. You decide which one is the boy toy, and when you have done so, you package that up, and I will go through the drive-thru, and we can.
And if it's the wrong toy, I will call call your manager. It's gonna be fun.
But I almost feel like the joke.
You realize that this kind of behavior is if this kind of behavior was flipped around, that they would call it harassment.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like if you didn't accept what they thought in their head without telling you they were,
It's harassment.
it would be harassment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you're walking on the street and
The person that wrote this is harassing a child by proxy. What a coward.
well, I mean, anyone that can't even.
So we've got hypocrite, we've got coward, we've got illiterate.
They couldn't even leave their
what else?
comfort zone to hit the shift key.
I know, right? The only excuse for not hitting the shift key is that you're one of those Yakuza people that cut off your pinky for like honor purposes.
Yeah, that's the only excuse.
That's the only excuse not to capitalize things.
In which case we shouldn't be seeing the A key in here either. And well, there it is, all pink and naked.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm surprised woman is spelled the traditional way.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they use that word.
I know, right?
Shouldn't it be gender undefined, ?
Nondescript person.
Makes you think that some people were actually ahead of their time.
Yeah, well, it's the progressive error. Being ahead of your time is being behind your times or something.
Right. Well, they actually have a whole like symbol to sum
They're
up.
capsizing the
both
boat known as sanity.
Now here's the thing. Here's the biggest problem I have with this. This was the one that really got me. This was the one that I sat there thinking about in my car as I was in my car reading this on Facebook while eating a hot dog next to the Myers gas station, and I have no shame in saying that because there is nothing greater than playing music in your car in a parking lot and eating a jalapeno cheese hot dog after spending way too much money on gas. And yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. The point is, I was looking at my phone, and on that phone I saw this, and then I thought, okay, wait a minute. We are told that we live in a society in which gender stereotypes are forced onto the young people in this country from every direction. And I am, after being told this, supposed to believe that the person working in this drive-thru is so sheltered that they aren't aware of those stereotypes enough to know what a person means when they say they want a boy toy at a McDonald's.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
I think it's hypocrite.
It's
And
definitely
coward,
hypocrite.
And
coward.
illiterate.
And illiterate.
And foolish.
Definitely all of those.
We've got 4 now.
And if we kept going, who knows?
Well, you know, bad service could be number 5.
Yes, that's another one. Could we include that in one of the? Well, we should. We don't have to. We're not obligated to. So.
And this is the same person that if this were reversed, this would be called harassment. If this were reversed, there would be a mob of people trying to get this person to lose their job. A mob of strangers.
Well, first off, I don't think this person actually says this to people in the drive-thru because they wouldn't be working there very long. Second, I really think that people just come up with these things in their head and are just like, I can put that on Facebook and people will like me for it.
No, they will like it, which isn't the same as liking you.
Yeah, they'll like it, but they see that as being liked, and it.
And they desperately need to be liked.
Yes, I mean that's the whole point of what
So
they're saying
desperate.
here.
Oh my god. Nothing I say can offend anyone.
Well, apparently everything they say can offend everyone.
That's
Unless they're the ones saying it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what hypersensitivity does to people.
Yeah.
It makes them insane.
That's not a strong enough word. There should be a better one.
You know what's funny about this is that this might actually be like McDonald's trying to be like woke. Like they might be like, yeah, you need to. We're not supposed to call it boy toys or girl toys anymore because jackasses will boycott us for no really compelling reason.
Well, I mean, I think
this might be written down in like a instruction manual for employees.
No, I've been through the McDonald's and ordered the toys before, and I'm pretty sure that they've switched to just asking you which toy you want. They'll tell you the two toys that they have, and it's obvious that one is a girl's and one is a boy's, and they'll just be like, "Which one do you want?" And it's like, give me this one." And actually,
yeah. That's what's happening here too.
I still go through and get people asking me if the Happy Meal is for a boy or a girl, and it's like I don't know why this should bother people. It's like even if you don't like the labels, which things do have to be labeled for people to understand what you're talking about. But even if you don't like that, you don't have to like open fire on someone because they're like, well, which one do you want? And they ask it a different way than you would. It's ridiculous.
Yes, of course it is. But that's what these people are all about, is being ridiculous.
It's almost, I would have to believe that the vision of people that they have in their head, it's like, oh, they asked if I want a girl or a boy toy for this Happy Meal.
Don't label me!
And then in their head, they're just picturing this person running around the McDonald's with a knife, stabbing people. It's just like, oh yeah, they must be crazy because they don't think like me. So,
yes, that's basically what this ends up being.
So it's like you can believe what you want to believe without making everyone else a bad guy.
Well, they could do that, but that would be way too easy, and it would make it so that they can't shriek like crazy people
and get likes on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're part of the clique.
It's not even a clique. It's like I mean, these people don't know each other.
Well, they don't like guns, so.
Well, I see. What you did there.
That wasn't a good joke, was it?
No, it was pretty bad.
So yeah, that's what was on my mind concerning that.
Yeah, it's fun when an imbecile writes a stupid thing poorly and shares it with the world. 10 years ago,
what's really fun about it? What's really fun about it is the height of the pedestal that people that think similarly put things like this on. This is like a trash note in not even in your high school class. It's like a middle school class that someone left on the ground, crumpled up, and a bunch of people stepped on. And it probably got retweeted or re-Facebooked or whatever they call it.
Retarded.
300 times.
It's retarded.
By a bunch of people thinking that this was some empowering message.
Empowering.
It's typewriter
Where's their
vomit
empowerment here?
I guess it empowers.
This is a jackass trying to humiliate a normal person.
I guess it empowers people in a drive-through to lose their jobs. I don't know.
It's like the person that wrote this doesn't understand what the word average means.
Yeah, or service.
Well, that too. Or consistency.
Yeah.
You should rewrite it with the first line, and would you like Hot Wheels or Barbie toy with that, ma'am? And then the second line is I only present as a woman, and then it just cuts off. You monster.
That's actually not a bad idea.
I know, right? You should reply to that with that.
And opening paint. Oh, the world we live in. Yeah, I see a lot of dumb things on the old Twitters and Facebooks.
Well, yeah, that's what those places are for.
It's so you can finally fully see the stupidity hidden latent in humanity all these centuries.
It wasn't hidden or latent. It was just that it didn't have any way to spread all the way across the world in a third of a second.
Yeah, you're right. Well, with the internet comes the good and the bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's definitely a lot of good that comes with the internet.
A whole lot of bad.
The bad can mostly be ignored.
Mostly, but like I don't know. It's like it's one thing when occasionally you hear your friends say something that is like really like hardcore communist in content. It's a whole other thing when like everything you see them post on the internet is, Lenin wasn't a bad guy.
Lenin. Vladimir Ilyich Lenin? You mean that Lenin? That Lenin wasn't a bad guy. All right, I'm just gonna go start a shotgun. I'll see you later.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. It's like you support Lenin, but you also think that the people who deserve death are the people that don't get someone's gender right in a world of made up genders.
We've had this conversation before, right? This is what authoritarian and totalitarianism do. If you have a totalitarianistic philosophy, then you can't allow any dissent at all. It can't be allowed, because if you allow dissent to a totalitarian philosophy, then it's not actually totalitarian, and you put a wedge there, or you allow room for a wedge, and you can't have a wedge.
Unless it's a cheese wedge. I could go for a cheese wedge.
I've never been a big fan of cheese in the form of wedges.
Well, we're going to have an issue then. Everything within the wheel, nothing outside the wheel.
Wait, but how many degrees should the wedge span?
359.
Please report to Gulag number 4.
Was that like a...
10 years.
A good old-fashioned tenor?
20 years.
Did they...
Life term.
Life term. Well, a tenor is a life term. In Soviet Russia, that's like, you made it through 5, hooray!
Well, I mean, it depends on how much forced labor there is in the gulag. I mean, that's mostly what that's about.
Do you think there were more lighthearted gulags?
Like the goofy, funny gulag that
where everyone would break out into song and dance occasionally.
I'm gonna say no. although I do think that would make for a great sitcom, kind of like a Russian Hogan's Heroes.
It just someone stands up and sings "Let My People Go" and then does the Charleston for 5 seconds and then falls over and dies of starvation. Yeah, it's weird. It's like the same person that will happily support Lenin will also think it's okay.
You have to remember these people are also illiterate, therefore they have no idea what Lenin actually did or stood for.
Very true. Very true.
I mean that's the thing that you have to remember is that one of the adjectives that we just described was illiterate, as evidenced by this glorious piece of writing here. And so it's impossible for them to actually know what Lenin did because he doesn't have a YouTube channel.
Yes, and yes. Lenin did great things. Okay, well, how are we defining great? If you mean things that were expansive,
then yeah, totally expansive. That's a good word for it. They used great in the pejorative sense, or at least they ought to have.
Well, great, like the Great Ocean, which covered an enormous expanse of the planet, and yes, the sheer amounts of death. I mean, but people read it. Why don't people want to read things with proper punctuation anymore? Is that what books are going to look like 100 years from now?
No, because the books will mostly stop being manufactured, and people like you and me will keep large personal libraries of books, and then when the crash happens, we'll hide those books from the monsters that want to kill us because we have books, and then the few of us that actually survive will revive the books in 100 years.
Well,
something like that.
None of us will survive after the 100 years, but...
Well, I mean like our descendants.
Yes.
With whom we task the important...
And then we found this old dust-covered SD card in the back. It's like someone wiping off a micro SD card, blowing dust off of it, like catching it as it flows out of their hand with it, and then finding an old like USB converter that they can plug into their God
I think
knows
of it
whatever.
more like that episode of Cowboy Bebop where they're looking for a VCR.
Yeah, just like that.
Just like that.
I'm actually living that episode right now. I've been wandering around looking for one because I found that Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp VHS tape.
Yeah. I mean, I have a VCR. I think it's in really good shape. So all you need to do is get a plane ticket to my place, and we'll save that shit up.
I'm just glad that I finally found that movie and can prove that it exists.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all it took was a quick glance at Anime News Network.
Well, that's how long ago it was that I was looking for it. Anime News Network wasn't
exactly.
a thing.
Yeah, I know.
I've just seen so many horrible, horrible things lately that I'm sitting here scrolling through Twitter, wondering if I'm going to find more that I can be angry about. But that was basically it. That was that one joke I felt was worth talking about for a few minutes, and I think
we got our money's worth out of it.
Yeah, and there's a lot to say about it. We said quite a bit as it is, but we've also covered any more that could be said about it.
There's not much else to say.
And every once in a while you do see the thing that brings a smile to your face, like this picture of Kim Jong-un on a roller coaster. On Twitter, it says, "That feeling when you discover free market capitalism."